You can get help from the Social Security Administration to make sure you're receiving everything you're eligible for. If you're new to my channel, my name is Ed Weir. I ran the third busiest Social Security office in the country, and I've helped a few million people get everything they're entitled to. I've taken hundreds of thousands of retirement claims, survivor claims, spouse, disability, Medicare, Medicaid. Used to work at the Department of Social Services before I worked at Social Security. So today I'm going to tell you how to interact with Social Security and make sure you defeat that bureaucratic beast. All kinds of tips, tricks, and secrets. Okay, and this is also a live Q&A as well. Once I talk about it, or today's topic is going to take about probably about 10, 12 minutes or something. And then I'm going to open it up to questions. Looks like we've already got questions there. So if you have any questions on all things Social Security, Medicare, Medicaid, disability, retirement, make sure you type it in the chat there, and I will get to as many as I can within an hour. If you're watching this later in a recording, you say, I'm not going to spend an hour watching this guy. Today's topic is only about 10 or 12 minutes. and then I spend the other time doing a live Q&A. You can tell it's a live Q&A because, it's not edited here. All right, so number one is when you're trying to get a hold of the Social Security Administration, you have to understand that they are at a 27-year low. There's a budget that's up in there in Congress right now that's going to put them at a 50-year low of customer service. So the staffing is terrible. Wait times are terrible. We're talking in-office phone appointments to get your claim adjudicated, to get your appeal adjudicated, whatever the case may be. And what makes it all worse is during the pandemic, Social Security Administration offered an early out, which I took an early out. So I'm not actually 70 or 100 years old as I look. I actually retired early and decided to go on and do different things. And after I left, about a week later, they called me up and said, Ed, we let too many people go. Do you want to come back? And I said, I've already gone off in my life. So you got a lot of the very seasoned people that have left, retired early, and now you've got a lot of new employees. And not only the issue is difficult to get an answer, quite often, more often than should be, you're getting the incorrect answer or an incomplete answer, which is, for all intents and purposes, an incorrect answer. So that's one of the reasons in my semi-retirement, after about a week of enjoying my retirement, I came back and I started doing this crazy YouTube channel, and I do these live Q&As to help you make sure you're getting everything you're entitled to, because the Social Security is way too confusing, too complicated. There's over 20,000 pages of policy. It's called POMS. You can read it if you're suffering from insomnia. Just type in SSA POMS, and you can go through the 20,000 pages, and you'll be asleep after about a page and a half. They're all confusing, and there's exceptions to the exceptions. The exceptions. There's so much social media people out there, on the YouTubers and the TikTokers and all that claim to know Social Security. They give you general information, but they forget to mention, okay, yes, that's the case for 80% or 90% of the time, but there's exceptions, exceptions. And unless you've read that 20,000 pages several times over, then unfortunately they're giving out incorrect information. I seem to do. A lot of my videos are on, okay, this YouTuber said this. Yes, partially, but there's all this other issues. And there's going to be a lot more changes coming forward. Obviously, Medicare 2025 is going to be big. I've talked about this in several different videos. There's a lot of changes. CMS coming down, Part D prescription drug plans, max out-of-pocket $2,000, a lot of changes in the industry. So Medicare 2025, you really, really need to keep up in your Medicare plan. I put together a team because I was tired of Medicare agents then going out there and brokers giving out incorrect information. So I put together a team. If you need help with your 2025 plans, the new ones that come out in October, just go ahead and click that. I'll put my phone number and email up later, and just contact us, and I'll find someone that's licensed and contracted in your area that treats you right and go over your 2025 plan and make sure you're getting everything you're eligible for, and there's no surprises. And there's going to be a new president, maybe a former new president or a brand new president next year, and they've got different policies in terms of Social Security, how they're going to address it. So there's going to be a lot of changes coming up with the new administration. There's the trust fund that's going to be running out in 2034, 2033, and solvency of Social Security. So over the next few years, this is the critical years, probably one of the most critical years since 1935 in terms of Social Security. So there's going to be a lot of changes and updates, and I am going to be here through the entire thing, making sure you continue to get everything you're eligible for. So make sure you subscribe and watch my future videos, and I will keep you updated, and then join my live Q&A. But one of the things I want to point out is destruction of customer service, Social Security customer services is not by accident. The 27-year low, the 50-year low, all of that is not by accident. People not picking up the phone, that's not an accident. That is a design by politicians in cahoots with Wall Street who want Social Security. So they have been chomping at the bit for decades to try to get Social Security. They tried to take it outright and privatize it. And you may believe, oh, that's the best thing, privatize it. Okay, whatever. But they've been trying to privatize it, and they tried to privatize it outright, but that didn't work. We, slap their hand and say, no, we don't want that. And now, so their strategy is to, kind of put doubt in our mind that it's not going to be there. Who cares? It's not going to be there. It's going bankrupt and all this kind of stuff. And I've talked about that several times in other videos. That's 100% incorrect. And part of that is the destruction of customer service. If the customer service gets so bad, then everybody just throws up their hands and say, forget it, anything else. Let's just go ahead and give it to Wall Street. And that's the plan. So the destruction of customer service is a plan by politicians and those who support those politicians, who pay for those politicians. So it's interesting in politicians, when they bring a new road or, a new building, or, they go out there and they put on their hard hat and they get their little shovel and they click their little, cut their little ribbon for their new building or something like that. They love those photo ops, but those same politicians, the Social Security office in your area, that's their responsibility. So tell them to put on their little shovel and a little hard hat and get their little big scissors and head down to the local Social Security office and make that better. There. That's it for that. Okay, so how do you get in actually Social Security? Obviously, the 800 number, 772-1213. You can also call Social Security, your local office. But if you have an issue with the local office, I talk to people all the time. This is my local office is terrible. They don't respond. They're giving the wrong answers. They don't like me, whatever the case may be. They're tired of me. Every office in the country is your office. So you may call a particular office and they will, another office in another city, another state, or whatever the case may be. And they will say, well, we're not your office, because you tell them your zip code and they say, we're not your office. And you just respond, yes, you are. Does it say Social Security Administration outside the building? Yes, it does. Then you are my office. You're the office I've chosen to do business with. If you have a pending claim, a disability claim or something pending, then yeah, you should definitely stay in that office because they have something. You can ask them to transfer your case to another office, and it really depends on whether it's a disability or whatever, but they may be able to do it if you just have big issues with that particular office. But if the building says Social Security on it and they pick up the phone and say Social Security, then that is your office. That's why my office was the third busiest office in the country, because I think my staff, I had close to 100 employees, and we provided excellent, outstanding service. So a lot of people from the other offices would call our office, from other jurisdiction would call our office, and therefore that's why we became super, super crazy busy. So you can call another office. Obviously, you can do things online. Social Security is, slowly coming into the 18th century with all their online stuff. So their online system is getting better and better and better. You can also walk into an office. Don't really recommend that, but if so, walk into a local office. It's called FEI, front-end interviewing, where you just kind of walk in. And it really depends. It's strange. In my office, if you walked in the door before 4 o'clock, if you stepped in the door at exactly 4 o'clock, we helped you that day. For some reason, some offices don't play it like that. They say, no, we can't help you. You have to schedule an appointment or something like that, which I completely disagree with. But it is what it is. Unless y'all reach out to your politician and make sure they change that. In terms of setting an appointment, you can only set an appointment for the most of the time. This is 99% true for an initial claim. So if you're taking an initial claim, survivor benefits, retirement benefits, disability benefits, then you can set up an appointment for what's called a PE appointment, a post-entitlement, that you're already receiving benefits, and you want to talk about your overpayment, or you want to talk about W-4V, setting up the taxes or something like that, then you cannot set up an appointment for that. 99% of the time, you cannot set up an appointment for that. So you have to just walk in or call or whatever the case may be. And one of the things when you call the Social Security Administration, some things they can't tell you. It's like if you're going to file for disability or whatever, and you say, "Hey, do I need a lawyer?" And they're not supposed to say whether you need a lawyer. And they say they'll say you can get a lawyer if you want to. And if you watch my videos on disability, I don't think you need a lawyer for the first stage, because they just ask the same questions you do. Second stage, the reconsideration stage, I don't really think you need one. For the third stage, yes, 100%. I definitely think you needed to get a lawyer, a local lawyer that knows the local judges, local doctors. They also can't tell you kind of filing strategies a lot of the time. We used to be able to do, when I took my hundreds of thousands of retirement claims, we'd give the break-even analysis and stuff, but they said, we're not in the financial advising business. And some people, whatever, there became issues. So they said, yeah, you can't do the break-even analysis for people anymore. So some things, Social Security employees obviously can't, tell you. Sometimes they kind of tell you, some employees kind of tell you in between the lines, but they don't tell you outright. You never get an official decision. This is a big one. You don't have an official decision until you get that thing in writing with appeal rights. So if you go into an office or call and say, "Hey, I want to file for spouse benefits," and they say you're not entitled, well, that's that person's personal opinion until you receive a letter that says you're not entitled. The Social Security employees, because when you walk into an office, you have what's called the CSRs, customer service representatives. They're the first line of the first phalanx there. And they are the hardest working, underpaid, but they're also not experts in all fields. In particular fields, they're kind of generalists in all fields, but they're not experts in terms of retirement, disability, survivor benefits, supplemental security income. They're more generalists. So sometimes they give out incorrect information. So if you're, for instance, filing a claim for spouse benefits and you call up and say, "Yeah, I want to file for spouse benefits," and the person at the front window says, "Well, you're not entitled." Well, that's not an official decision until you actually file. So what we see happening is on my live Q&As on a regular basis, people call in and says, "Yeah, I called and they said I'm not entitled to survivor benefits or spouse benefits." Let's say, "Okay, were you married to that person for, divorce spouse benefits? You were married to that person for 10 years? Yes. Okay, well, you're entitled there. But was that benefit amount, was your spouse's benefit amount twice your benefit amount?" "No, it wasn't." "Okay, that's what they mean by you're not entitled. You're entitled, but there's just no more money there because your benefit amount is not less than half of your divorced spouse's." And then the employee should say, "However, your divorced spouse's benefit amount is higher. If that person should ever pass, then you would be entitled to survivor benefits." So sometimes you get kind of part of the answer, but not all the answer. Another thing is like HSA, health savings account, and Medicare Part A. HSA, and sign up for Medicare Part A, HSA is more of a tax IRS type benefit. So sometimes Social Security employees give you incorrect information and you get kind of jammed up with the IRS because you signed up for Medicare A and you're contributing to an HSA. So that's another reason I do all these videos. And I've got a particular video on that as well. I've got over 700 videos out there. All right. So 13 minutes, a little bit longer than I intended. But let's go ahead and get into all your questions. And I'll sit here and answer your questions for about another 45 minutes. And let's see how many we can get to. Let's see. I'm 58 and on SSDI since 55. My first husband of 14 years died in 2000. I remarried 2 times, but not 10 years. Divorced. Can I claim survivor benefits from the late spouse? Yes. You're no longer married now, and you were married to that person for at least 10 years. Well, actually, you can get survivor benefits if you were married to the person for 10 years. and in divorce, or you were married to the person for 9 months and still married to the person when they passed away. So yes, as people love for me to say, call Social Security immediately, if not sooner, and schedule an appointment to see if there's any more benefits available there. But I am 58, but right now you're only 58 years old, so you cannot get survivor benefits until you reach 60 years old. So once you reach 60 years old, about a month or two before then, call Social Security and apply for survivor benefits on your first husband's record. Just to kind of make sure you're prepared, give Social Security a call right now and say, hey, I'm approaching 60. I want to see if there's any more money on my previous spouses, because it really depends on how much that person worked and how much they paid into Social Security, how much their benefit amount, if their benefit amount is more than yours. So yeah, give Social Security a call, give them that person's information. You don't need to know the Social Security number, just give them the person's name, date of birth, where they were born, and they'll be able to find the Social Security number and tell you whether there's any more money. And if there is, they will talk to you when you turn 60 years old. Amelia, greetings from the Philippines. I don't have 35, worked in Canada for 8 years. Yeah, sometimes it depends on the totalization of the particular country. Sometimes you can use Canadian credits or credits from other countries to get your 35 years. So I would definitely reach out to Social Security. It's called a totalization. There are totalization agreements, and there's different agreements with a lot of different countries. So Canada, I know there's a totalization agreement with Canada. So call up and see. The local office will do a totalization claim. They'll send it to the OIO, which is the Office of International Operations back in Baltimore. They will coordinate with Canada and all that kind of stuff and see if you're eligible for there. Yep, go for it. Judy, if my ex-spouse draws off his current spouse, will I draw off her too when I file? No. You can only file for that person's, the person you are actually married to for 10 years. So you can only file under that person's. But if your divorced spouse files under anybody else, it doesn't matter. There's no relevance. Your only issue is that person's PIA, their primary insurance amount, the amount they will receive at their full retirement age. So only from his benefit amount. Okay, there we go. Same question. Vanessa, if your husband died before you were married 10 years, are you still entitled to survivor benefits? Yeah, if you were married to the person for at least 9 months, yes, you're entitled to survivor benefits. If you're divorced, then yeah, you had to do the 10 years, but it sounds like you were married to the person when they passed. And there's Vanessa. That's another thing. A lot of people out there are missing money because they don't know the difference between the 10 years and divorce and the 9 months. And then there's exceptions to the 10 years. You don't have to be consecutive years if you remarry the same person again. The 9 months, there's exceptions if the person died by accident or they were active duty in the military and line of. So yeah. There's so many people out there missing money, struggling and missing money. So please subscribe, like, and share and all that kind of good stuff so more people get these videos and get the benefits they're entitled to. Let's see. I am divorced, married 15 years. Currently, my Social Security at full retirement age is more than half of my ex's PIA if deceased. If I go to Social Security now, do I tell them to sign me up for deceased spouse benefits when he dies? No, you can't take a claim. They can't take a claim for you now because he's not deceased. So you just have to wait until that event happens. And when it does, then you contact Social Security and set up a claim for surviving spouse benefits. And you'll need the marriage certificate and the divorce decree to prove that you were married to them for 10 years. You don't need the death certificate. Social Security is automatically notified of the passing of people. That's an automatic process if they passed away in the United States. If you have more than one ex-spouse, how does Social Security determine which one you can claim benefits on? Whichever one is the most. Again, I've taken hundreds of thousands of spouse claims, and how we do it is you come and file for retirement, and they ask you, were you ever married to anybody for 10 years or anybody that passed away? And you say, yes, I was married to two people that were, married. I was married to two people for 10 years. And so the Social Security employee will go through the list Okay, the first one, yeah, do you know the social security number? I don't know. Okay, no problem. What's the name? And they'll find that social security number and they'll say, oh, okay, the first one is this amount of money. The second one is this amount. Oh, the second one's a lot more money. So let's go ahead and file a spouse claim on the second one because you're going to get more money there. And then 5-10 years later, maybe the first spouse passes away. And now that's survivor benefits, because of spouse benefits, you can get up to 50%. Surviving spouse benefits, you can get up to 100%. So you can switch over to the higher one later. Jill, I have tried calling Social Security 4 times on hold for 20 minutes before being bumped off. Do I just need to show up in person? Yeah, or call another number, call your local office, call the 800 number, call another office, whatever the case may be. And if all that fails, then unfortunately, yeah, you'll have to go down. Never go down on a Monday. Never go down to Social Security on the day after, like a 3-day holiday. Never. Yes, that's way too long wait time. Patricia, what's up? I just started and worked up in August. The amount I made before I started drawing Social Security, will that hurt me? And will I have to pay back Social Security? No. So I assume you filed for early retirement and you worked and then you stopped working because you want to go ahead and start your Social Security benefits. So you're not subject to the annual earnings limit. You're subject to the monthly earnings limit. So basically how it works is, I always exaggerate so I can bring this point home. You make $1 billion from January to August. And then starting September, you essentially stop working. Or this year, you stay under $1,860 a month. So September, you're under $1,860 a month or zero. For the rest of the year, they can start your benefits in September and you get it for the rest of the year. And then next year, you can't do the monthly again. You can only do an annual. So if you're over whatever amount it is next year, and make sure you subscribe. And once the new numbers come out for, annual earnings limit and the COLA and SGA and Part B premium and all that, I'm going to do a series of videos to tell you the numbers, which you'll already know the numbers, but I'll also tell you kind of the inside scoop on all those numbers and how to take advantage of it and make sure you get everything you're entitled to. So make sure you subscribe and join me on that series of videos. But yeah, so you're making $1 billion, but as the first month, you're staying under the 1860, you can collect your Social Security benefits and there's nothing withheld. However, sometimes the Social Security computer system is not too smart. It's based on Fortran and COBOL for those out there, that know that. So basically a programming language from the 1970s. So sometimes the system, and particularly if the big thing is that if the person that takes your claim codes it incorrectly, it's a section they have put NSM, non-service months, and sometimes they put the X's in the wrong block. And then you'll get an overpayment next year and it'll say, hey, you made $1 billion over. Then don't worry about it. Just go down to the Social Security and say, no, I made that before I started my Social Security benefits. And then number two, the person who took your claim, please tell that person to get some training on how to code non-service months because they messed it up. So it's usually a human error when that happens. So that's the kind of inside information you don't get from any other YouTube channel out there. So how the sausage is made is probably too much information. That's why people don't like me. I give them too much information. Shelly, if you have more than one ex-spouse, how does social? Okay, I already did that. Yep. So they look at each one and they just find whichever one's the most. Hi, I'm 62. I stopped working and won't be returning. I use the SSA's online benefit calculator. I put in all the year's earnings from 1980 to 2023. Guesstimate for 2024, 0. Earnings for 25. Yeah. So that's the closer you get, because those are estimates. You won't get your official number for how much your retirement benefits will be at 62, 63, 67, or whatever the case may be until you actually file a claim and get the letter. But the online estimator, it's good. It's usually very, very accurate. The closer you get to your retirement age, 62, 63, whatever. If you go in there at 55 and check it out, then it's not as accurate. Why? Because it estimates future earnings. So it gives you, if you go in there at SSA online and look at your, how much is my benefits going to be if I turn 67 years old? And it'll tell you, $2,800 or something. And what it does, how does it know that? How does it know how much I'm going to work from 55 until 67? Well, it guesstimates. So it says, okay, you're making about this much now. And the computer says, okay, we'll project you're going to make about the same going forward. And that's how they come up with that 2,800. So if you increase your earnings a whole bunch or decrease your earnings, then those numbers are completely inaccurate. But the closer you get to that date, the more accurate it is. So, and then I just answered your question on that. Can I trust the benefit amounts? Yes. So that's yes. I just answered that. So yeah, I knew you were going to ask that question. That's what happens when you've done this a million times. Let's see. All caps here. Hey, Diana. I am 66. My husband is 65. I make more than him. When I die, does he get my full in half? And is this automatic, or does he have to go to my death certificate of Social Security? Okay, good questions. So if your benefit amount is more, and if something happens to you, your husband can get up to 100% of that benefit amount. He's 65. So if that happens today, he's 65, it's going to be reduced because he's getting it early. Anytime you get benefits from Social Security, for most programs, it's reduced if you get it early. So, but if his full retirement age is, let's say, 67, if you pass when he's 67, then he gets basically what you were receiving. And is it automatic? Yes and no. If he is receiving benefits from your record now as a spouse, then it's automatic. But if he's not receiving benefits from your record, then no, he has to go in there and call the 800 number and schedule an appointment to take a claim for surviving spouse benefits. And he doesn't need the death certificate. Again, those are automatically conveyed to Social Security. What happens is when someone passes away, coroners and funeral homes throughout the country put that in the state database, in your state database, and the state database talks to the Department of Treasury and Social Security, and they stop the last check and all that kind of stuff. And if Social Security sees somebody on the record, they automatically convert it from a living spouse to a surviving spouse claim. So you don't need to pay the other, $50 for a copy of the death certificate. And that's how I did a video on this. This is how some people get killed off, that you hear every now and then on the news that Social Security killed somebody off, and now they've, they're all their credit cards and their home loans and all that kind of stuff, because according to official records, they're deceased. Usually 99% of the time, it's not Social Security that does it. It's some funeral home, puts in the wrong Social Security number. And so that's usually how that happens. Judith. Just call, and kind of a fun fact, Social Security employees call that, the administration has told employees to stop calling it that, but when we bring somebody back from the dead, when somebody is killed off accidentally and we bring them back to the dead, we call them, it's a resurrection case. We have resurrected them from the dead. But so the powers that be said, stop calling it a resurrection. So anyway, we still call it that. Just call again. I'm speaking in the present tense. I've retired from the Social Security Administration, so I want to make sure I am no longer a Social Security employee, so I can tell you all the dirty, interesting facts. So I just want to make sure all the new people out there. He's official from the Social Security. No, I'm retired from there. Okay. All right, Judith. Just called my Social Security office to set up a phone call to retire. It took 9 times calling. Yeah, each time they put me on hold 17 minutes each of the 9 times. Got through on the 10th call, all back in 4 weeks. Yeah, that's completely unsatisfactory. So key point here, protective filing. So for instance, Judith, if you called, let's say August, and that's one of the 9 times you tried to call and you couldn't get through, and then finally you got through in September, you can actually start your benefits in August because you're protected for August. So when you actually file for those benefits, you can tell the person, I want my benefits to start in August. Well, no, you called us in September. No, I called you in August, but you never answered the phone. You put me on hold and you hung up on me. And they will say, oh, hopefully they say, oh, sorry. And they can start your benefits in August. But remember, every time you take your benefits early, it's going to be reduced another month because you're taking it in August. But that is your right, because you called Social Security and they didn't do the right thing by answering their phone. So you're protected for that month. It's not your fault. You couldn't get in that month. Patricia, can you be denied spousal benefits by Social Security because when you accepted to receive benefits, your assigned benefit was fixed for life and makes you ineligible for spousal benefits? Not sure what that means. Can you be denied for Social Security benefits because you accepted? So yeah, your assigned benefit, you're already receiving spousal benefits. Your assigned benefit was fixed for life. Not sure what that means. Yeah, I'm sorry, I don't understand what you're asking there. Terry, got my notice of change yesterday. Almost everything costs more now. Yes, so Terry is talking about the annual notice of change. So September, this is going to be the big one. In 2025, all kinds of different stuff are happening. This is Medicare, Medicare Advantage, Medicare Part D plans. If you have a Medicare supplement plan, you're good. Those stay the same. They were the same last year, the same this year, the same next year, Plan G and Plan N. But if you have a Medicare Advantage, HMO, PPO, or whatever, then you'll get your annual notice of change. And there's millions of people throughout the country that their annual notice of change letter they get from their health insurance, their Medicare insurance company will say, bye, we're not making enough money from you and your neighbors, so bye. This is happening in Missouri and Florida and Alabama and Georgia and other places throughout the country. They're just leaving. So you have to find another plan. So if you didn't receive that annual notice of change, if you threw it away or whatever the case may be, it just might say, bye, we're not, our CEO needs a new yacht and you're not paying for it. So we're leaving you. So you have to go find another plan. And there's going to be hundreds of thousands of people that didn't take action. And then January 1st in January, they go to a doctor and the doctor says, oh, okay, yep, you have to pay your 20%. The bill is, $10,000 and we need $2,000. And you're like, no, I've got health insurance. No, that company left you. Didn't you receive the letter? Oh, I didn't pay attention. So please. And that's another reason I put together a Medicare team to help you out. So email me at mygovexpert.com and say, hey, Ed, put me on your list for October, and we'll put you on the list for October. And when the new plans come out, we'll reach out to you, schedule the time, and do a 100% free review and make sure you're in the best plan for 2025. That still covers your doctors, gives you the best prescription prices, all the extra benefits. If you want to keep with the same company, no problem. There's probably an upgraded plan in your company that you really like if you're really committed to that particular company for whatever reason, or we can find you a company with another plan and give you your options. And if you like it, then you go for it. If you don't, then you say, no, I'm good where I am. Talk to y'all next year. Say hello to Ed. So, you can call or email and we can put you on the list. Yeah, but Terry, everything costs more, but good on you that you checked. So make sure, if you've already got a Medicare insurance agent or broker that treats you well, that you can trust, then contact that person and say, hey, put me on your schedule for October when the new plans come out, and let's see if there's anything better. Take 5, David Bubrek. Love that love song. Can you talk about back pay? Divorce spousal support applied May 2024, but did not get anything but the first pay in September and no back pay. Yes, I anticipated that question. So the protective filing. So if you applied in May 2024 and you're entitled for May 2024 because you were 60 or 62, I guess you're 62 at that time. But if you called in May 2024 and you weren't 62 yet, then yeah, they won't be able to start you. But you said just 60 or 66, that doesn't matter. Sorry. If you get the letter, and it sounds like you already got the letter that says, hey, we're going to start your benefits, in September, and it's going to be this amount. And you say, well, thank you very much. And then it has appeal rates on the bottom of the letter where it says, if you disagree, you can file an appeal, and the appeal is an SSA 561. It's super, super easy to fill out. But if you called in May, the problem, I think probably what was missed is that the employee, you didn't tell them, or you told them and they forgot to code it in the system, in the MOE, the month of entitlement. So they should have, looked that you did call them in May and then put that number as, 0524, May of 24. They should have put that in the system and then you would have gotten your back pay. But it sounds like someone dropped the ball there. So call them up and or file that reconsideration, the SSA 561. It's super, super easy. You just put your name on the top of it, social security number, address, phone number, and there's like 2 or 3 lines. You say, I should have received my benefits starting May, and then you submit it to them. So, divorced. Is there a reduction in survivor benefits in the future if my ex-spouse dies before I do, and I have chosen to take my benefits ahead of my full retirement date? No. The spouse benefits amount is determined by the dates those events happen. The date that your divorced spouse passes away and the date you file for those benefits. So the fact that you took early benefits now doesn't really matter in the grand scheme of things. No, so it doesn't matter. Heartbeats, been paying $200 out of pocket for tier 3 all year. Price in August was $30. Could this be employed to keep people on Advantage plans getting Medicare in October? The Medicare Advantage plans, those have Part D prescription drug plans, kind of bundled in them. If you get a Medicare supplement plan, you still have to get a Part D plan, but it's a standalone Part D plan, and it's usually from the same companies that do Medicare Advantage plans. But usually the standalone Part D plans, you have a lot more options. If it's bundled with a Medicare Advantage, then you're like, oh, this has my doctors and all that kind of stuff, but I'm not really good on prescriptions on this particular plan, but you're kind of stuck because it has all your doctors and that's only available. So so there's a lot of moving parts there. That's why it's good to get someone, a Medicare insurance agent or broker that you know and trust, that can walk you through all those landmines. And again, if you don't have someone, give us a call. William, I'm 67 and my wife will be 65 next month. So her full retirement age is 66 in 10 months. If she signs up for her personal Social Security benefits next month, and if I continue to work full time until, all right, so not the entire question, but I know what he's asking. Yeah, so you're calling this is a split strategy. So she is going to file for her benefits a little bit early, no problem. And if your benefit amount is twice hers, when you file later on, then she files a spouse claim on your record. So for instance, if her benefit amount is, let's say, $400, make it easy, and your full benefit amount is $1,000. So she goes ahead and gets her $400. And then when you file and get your $1,000, she's got another extra $100 coming to her. Again, this is assuming she's her full retirement age at that time. If not, then it'll be just reduced a little bit. But it's called a split strategy. The lower income, the lower earning person starts their benefits, and then when the higher earning files, then the lower earning files a spouse claim on top of that. Yes, absolutely. All right, Imaginator's getting his first check in June or July. Awesome. It's good. Long time coming, right? But it's amazing how you wake up one day and you're in your 60s. Yeah, that's wow. Anyway, could you imagine in high school and people will say, I'm 60 years old, and people say, oh my gosh, that person is like a dinosaur. And now you're like, not really. Jackie may have wrote before, but apparently we didn't fill out all the paperwork, so my husband will not receive the last 2 of 3 back payments. Help 20. All right, so didn't fill out all the paperwork. Yeah, I'm not sure what we're talking about there. Gabriella, I am 58 years old and I am planning to retire at 62. I started working late, so I won't make the 35 years for average. Is the estimated benefit that I look at my statement will change because of this? No, the statement that you have through SSA.gov is, it factors in those 0 years. So anytime you do work, then one of those 0 years is taken out and the new year is put in. And that goes on forever. So if you continue to work even until you're 80 years old, even if you're receiving Social Security and you continue to work and paying a FICA and all that, then Social Security automatically recalculates your benefits. That's 100% automatic. You don't have to do anything except for file your taxes. You go ahead and file your taxes and do everything, pay your FICA tax, and then the IRS notifies Social Security of that, and Social Security automatically does the recalculation. I just did a video on this yesterday, how to unreduce your reduced benefits. Oh, the second part of that question, 69, and if I pass first, will she get her full survivor benefits? Okay, so for survivor benefits, yes. So if yours is the higher benefit amounts and you pass first, then it depends on her age. But if she's full retirement age at that time, then she'll get 100% of your benefit amount. And if she's already on your record as a spouse now, then again, that's 100% automatic, including that awesome $255 lump sum death benefit, which I've given out hundreds of thousands for, and nobody's ever thanked me for it. I wonder why. Yeah, so wow, it's embarrassing. It's not my money. I don't know why they thank me, but it's like, yeah, you know what I mean. Is it normal that on my employment record for every early years, they don't have each year listed with the actual amount, but instead have, I have no idea why they did that, why they're lumping in this. This is a terrible, terrible idea. You know, I've been telling people, you know, since day one, I've been on YouTube for what, 6-7 months or something, in earnest, that you should check your earnings record to make sure your earnings is correct, because that's how your benefit amount is, figured when you retire. And then they go and switch the whole thing where they lump these years. How are you supposed to tell whether your earnings record is correct if they lump all these years like that? It makes no sense to me whatsoever. I have no idea why they did that. They need to go back where it's itemized every single year. But yeah, maybe they're saying, well, you know, those years, 20 years ago, you can't change it anyway. You can't do this, that, or the other. So I have no idea why they did that. I say we rebel and make them go back to the way it was before. So please don't forget to hit the like button. Yes, please pay it forward. Get this information out to people. Do you have a video on the Emeritus Dental? No, I don't. But that's yeah, if you read my description stuff, that's the company I kind of like for. I always try to avoid talking about companies. So, but anyway, so that's that. Let's see. Answer to Mass wondering, you can apply for widow survivor benefits married. Okay. All right. So somebody answers somebody else's question. We like that. I have been, let's see here. Sandy, I have been divorced for about 10 years and I am not getting any spousal support. I applied for during my divorce proceedings, but I don't think I was granted anything. I've been married. All right. So yeah, the whole divorce thing, Social Security really doesn't care about that in terms of there's a lot of people out there that are entitled to divorced spouse benefits, but they are not getting them because in my divorce decree, it said I couldn't get that person's Social Security benefits. That's all BS. That's a trick by your ex-spouse or their lawyer to try to, rip you off and not treat you right. Social Security doesn't care about that. For divorced spouse benefits, you had to be married for the person 10 years, and then you're entitled, period, end of story. If there's more money there, obviously. In the sense of, that benefit amount is twice your benefit amount. But when you file for divorce spouse benefits, you go down to Social Security Administration, you give them the marriage certificate, you give them the divorce decree. They just look at the names and the date, the marriage names and the date of divorce. They don't look at, according to, this judge in, Lamar County, East Texas, they can't get their Social Security benefits. So that judge has no jurisdiction on Social Security benefits. So yeah, nice try, ex-spouse. But that's not worth the paper it's written on. So if you know anybody, please, that little old lady down the street that's, struggling, and say, weren't you married to someone? And how come you're not getting the benefits? Well, it said on divorce decree I couldn't get it. No, immediately call Social Security and get that money. Get that money. Help those people out in your community. Please, please, please. Another question here from Puzzle Lover. I'm working, was told I made too much money to draw my widow's benefits and told to wait until 66, 8 months. Yeah, so it's basically the annual earnings limit. So that's another thing, that Social Security employees should kind of tell the entire story. and say, hey, you're not entitled to spouse benefits because your benefit is not, twice as much, or the ex-spouse is not benefit is not twice as much. But when that person passes, you're entitled to it. But in this particular case, she's entitled to survivor benefits because it sounds like there's more money. His or her benefit amount was higher, but you're also subject to the annual earnings limit. So this year it's $22,320. So if you go that, they hold back $1 for every $2 you go over. So if you're making $100,000, then you're making, basically $75,000 more. So basically all the benefits will be withheld. So there's no reason to file for benefits because everything is being withheld. So hopefully what they told you was, come back at your full retirement age because earnings don't matter at that time. However, also if you stop working, then come on back. Or also the year you turn your full retirement age, there's a different limit. It goes up about 3 times. You're allowed to earn over 3 times your 62, 63, 64 limit. See how complicated everything is? So, all right. Let's see. Can a 16-year common law married collect survivor benefits? It depends. Common law marriages, Social Security in terms of marriage and divorce, because marriage and divorce is a state law issue. And states decide what is considered marriage and divorce. So if your particular state at that particular time recognize common law, absolutely. So how do you know? You contact Social Security, you call Social Security, you set up an appointment, you say you want to file survivor benefits, divorce spouse benefits, surviving spouse benefits, whatever the case may be. And then they say, hey, I need your marriage certificate. And you say, well, we were common law in whatever state, and the Social Security, part of their 20,000 pages of policy, they have each state in there in terms of which ones recognize common law and in which years. Some states recognize common law, and before, but now they don't. And so, yeah, it changes all the time. All right, let's see here. We're getting close. I'm going to jump around and get to people that I didn't answer any questions and people I don't recognize, people that are new to the channel. So if I skip your question, it's probably because I recognize your name. So I'm going to get to new people. I am filing Social Security next because my birthday is in January. I'm already receiving total disability. Why do I have to still file for Social Security? Do I get more income? So I'm thinking that if they're making you sign up for benefits at 62, that's because you're receiving SSI, which is the welfare-based benefit, means tested income, low resources. And because of that money, SSI, supplemental security income, that's not Social Security. It doesn't come out of a Social Security trust fund. It comes out of regular taxation. So when you receive that money, you have to file for anything else you're eligible for. So if you're on disability, SSI disability, and you're eligible for retirement benefits, then you have to file for those retirement benefits. And if those retirement benefits are more, which I don't think they will be, then if they are, then your SSI will stop. But usually if they're not, so for instance, if you're going to get $500 from retirement benefits, then you'll get those $500. And then if you're receiving the full SSI amount, which is the $943, you'll receive another $443 from SSI. So you'll have retirement, SSI, and then, you're eligible for Medicaid or Medicare possibly, and all the rest of it. So, and unfortunately, they make you sign up for it because, again, you're receiving essentially a welfare type benefit and you have other money out there. But it kind of jams you up because you're like, well, I would rather receive that money, my retirement benefits, when I receive 67 because it's more. It'll be more than SSI. Why don't they just let me wait till I'm 67 so I can receive more so I can get completely off SSI? I agree. I wish that was the case, but unfortunately the law is written, the regulation is written that you have to get it as soon as you can. Yeah. Valentine, I'm about to retire at age 62. Some problems with arthritis. My wife have another 3 years to retire from teaching and contributing to Cal STRS. Do I have any choices to make now or after? So yeah, you go ahead and file for benefits on your own record. And Cal STRS, probably, it sounds like your wife worked for the state county or something like that, and probably did not pay into Social Security, so she might not be entitled to Social Security unless she worked at some other place. But no, you're again, you're limited to the amount of money you can make. The $22,320 this year. But when she hit 62 and she's not working, or under the annual earnings limit, have her reach out and see if she's entitled to any benefits. I called your number about SSI, never got called back. Yeah, for Social Security type questions, this is where you ask them right here. So go ahead and ask away. I have them because I've been trying to find another Social Security retired person to help out, but everybody wants to go on and enjoy their life. But in terms of Medicare, there's a lot of people that can help with Medicare, Medicare Advantage, Medicare Supplement. So I've got a Medicare team that can help you with Medicare. But in terms of Social Security, yeah, unfortunately, it's just little old me. You're stuck with me. Let me see. I mean, jump around questions here. Michelle, if I get on SSDI before full retirement age, I am stuck into that amount, or can I later get higher benefits based on my ex-spouse fraud benefits? No, you're not stuck on that amount. You go ahead and get your Social Security disability. And as soon as your divorced spouse reaches 62, and if there's more money there, that is, your benefit amount is less than half of your divorced spouse benefits, then you're entitled to spouse benefits. If you were married to the person for 10 years or longer, then you go ahead and file as soon as that person turns 62 years old. They don't have to have filed. They just need to be 62. There's another reason a lot of people are missing money out there because, I'm waiting for my ex to file. No, you don't have to wait for them to file. They just have to be 62. So no, you can get extra. Yes, you can get extra money. Will my husband, age 70, be penalized for not yet Medicare member because I am still working and will retire this? No, if your husband has been receiving health insurance from your current work, and your employer has 20 or more employees, then no penalty whatsoever. So you stop working next year and your husband is 71 at that time, and about a month or two before, you just fill out a couple of forms. It's called the 40B and the 564, a couple of forms, download them, fill them out, take one of those to your employer, and your employer certifies that, yes, your husband had health insurance from current work since he turned 65. There's no penalties whatsoever. So no problem at all. And then you just have to figure out how you're going to cover all the gaps, Medicare Supplement, Medicare Advantage, and give us a call when that happens, and we'll help you out. Dorothy, I'm trying to get help paying Part B Medicare, so I'm supposed to apply for Medicaid. Yes. Also, will I be denied if I have over $2,000 in money market savings account? Really, I know for SSI, if you're single, if you have over $2,000, yes. But Medicaid is administered by the states, and the states, sometimes they count things differently. So apply for Medicaid. If you're having a hard time paying that, Medicare Part B premium, apply for Medicaid and see if they'll pay for that. And if you get Medicare and Medicaid and your Medicaid levels are high enough, then you can get a Medicare Advantage plan that has a whole bunch of other benefits to it as well. So let's see here. Let's face this. Doctor, I went to a local office to request a detailed earnings report, was given a form and told to mail to be more with $100. Explain this program related, should be $0. They had no clue. Any reference page I can give them? Yes. So if this is in fact program related, Social Security is getting kind of touchy on all of this. Let me find the reference. And they're kind of reading when you're actually file for benefits, then they have to give you your earnings record for free. See, the issue is here. I'm going to put the let me go ahead and put it down. Earnings record. Here's the reference. So I put it earnings record. There's the reference at the bottom there. What it is that like in our office, we used to get pretty much on several a week. Metropolitan Police Department requires a background check, And so the candidate had to go down to Social Security and get their 10-year work history. And this has happened throughout the country. And Social Security said, we're not in that job. This is not retirement related, or they're not filing for disability. They need this for their own purposes. So Social Security many years ago said, we're going to charge for this over $100. Yeah, for 2 pieces of paper. It's crazy. But so that's what it's being charged for. So if you go in there and says, I disagree with my earnings record, I think this particular year is incorrect and I want to check it out, then you say, I want that earnings record. And the first thing they will say is, give us money, because they think it's for your personal thing. But you tell them it's program related and they should give it to you. There's the wording and the policy is kind of, it's an emergency type thing. So one way to do it is go down to the local Social Security office to get around all the BS. Go down to the Social Security office and say, hey, I think 1982 is incorrect. And could you show me on the computer screen, turn the computer screen around and show me what my earnings were and what company I work for and all that kind of stuff in 1982. And they'll show you the company and the EIN, the employer identification number, and the address of the company and stuff like that. And you just say, well, but what about 1983? Can you turn that around and show it to me? And if you do that 2 or 3 times, I guarantee you the Social Security employee are like, hey, I got 400 other people in the lobby. Why don't I just go ahead and print it off and you can take a look at it? Go sit down in the lobby and look at it. And that's how you get around. That's the inside trick. But there's the policy that it should kind of be free. They've kind of changed the policy a little bit where it's made it, strange. So, but that's the trick to get around that. All right. Again, I'm jumping around here because we're running out of time. So I've skipped a lot of questions. I apologize. If you really have a question, I will be back again tomorrow, same time. So get in the queue early and put your question in there. And the first questions I always get to. All right, but I'm got about 5 more minutes here. Hubby wants to know what he gets of benefits if I proceed. I have a teacher's pension starting at 60 years. He's aiming for early Social Security of about 2,300 because of what my Social Security is about 250. Yeah, if your benefit has to be more than his, and it doesn't sound like it is, because you worked for a organization that did not pay into Social Security, so your benefit sounds like it's very, very low. So the only thing it sounds like he possibly would get would be the $255 lump sum death benefit, because again, I'm assuming his benefit amount is more. If you pass away first, if he passes away first, then you would be the surviving spouse, but your pension, then it's GPO, government pension offset. So that pension will offset what you receive from his by 2/3. So yeah. All right, let's see here. Brad, I don't recognize Brad, and welcome. 3368 for DAC, a disabled adult child. Question 4A about work. If the only work were 2 5-week job training with one-on-one coach, do you answer never worked or have stopped working and list 2 job? I would always put it down there in that way, and put it down there in the remarks. Social Security has changed the policy within the last month on work. You used to have to go back 15 years. Now they only make you go back 5 years, but that's for new initial claims. So they're making it a little bit easier. I would go ahead and put it down there, and with qualifications. Yes, worked, and then put in the remarks somewhere. But it was only 5 weeks, and they had a job coach, and all that kind of stuff. So I would just put it down there just to be on the safe side. That way you can sleep at night if nothing else. Social Security will completely ignore that probably. I'm sure 99.9% chance. But so it's not an issue for Social Security. But you will be all paranoid. Oh my gosh, I didn't answer that correctly. Wonder if they're going to come arrest me with the black helicopters and stuff like that. If you're paranoid like me, that's probably how you'll do it. So just go ahead and throw it down there. Make your life easier. Barry, Roseanne, on your Social Security homepage, look under earning eligibility and earnings and click on review your full earnings record now. They will list each individually since your record started. Oh, okay. So they added something new. Okay. Great information, Barry. Please, people out there, try that. I'm gonna have to go into mine again. They just changed that recently. So good comment. Thank you. Are independent spouse benefits reduced if taken at 62? Yes, all benefits are reduced when you take it like that, except for disability, obviously. Do they increase one's for all? No. What does POS mean on a Medicare Advantage plan? Kind of point of sale type thing. Yeah, usually there's like a PPO. Actually, it's not point of sale, it's something else. Oh gosh, what was the acronym for Medicare Advantage plan? But yeah, it's either Medicare Advantage or either HMO or PPOs. And if you're in a larger city, HMOs probably get you the best deal. If you're out in the country or desert, out in the rural area, usually have to go with a PPO. So, and then yeah, there's different classifications within those. All right, we're going to do two more questions. Just saying hi, I'm retired from SSA. I was certified technical expert and manager. I worked in the field office and payment center. We need your help. Give me a call if you want to answer some questions. She's like, she's never going to contact me again. Brendan Shane, Beer Weir. Okay, yeah, I'm one Beer Weir. That's my old Marine Corps moniker. Greetings from the PC. Thanks for shouting out. We're definitely understaffed, but we are doing our best here. Just a fun question. What was your specialty? Any favorite kind of cases to? Yeah, I was a Title II CR when they were called CRs. I was hired under the Outstanding Scholar Program and district manager of the third busiest office in the country. Yeah, I loved every day I worked for Social Security. It was an awesome job. People were awesome. Staff was awesome. Obviously, you had, people come in that are not happy, but, I wouldn't be happy if I was in their situation too. A lot of people on disabilities, mental disabilities, but, that's life. And welcome to all those people from Social Security. If you want to help, please reach out to me. See all the questions I have. My ex is 57 and still working. I'll be 65 next month. I have been receiving my Social Security retirement at 62, currently 177 a month. Do I have to wait until he turns 62 for ex-spouse? Yes. You have to wait and you had to be divorced from that person. Again, this is called the independently entitled divorced spouse. You had to be finally divorced from that person for 2 years, and that person has to be 62. All right, that is unfortunately it. And I didn't get to a lot of questions. I apologize, but cut and paste those questions and then join me tomorrow and put them up there first thing as soon as I start blabbing away. And I guarantee I will get to your question tomorrow.